Hello everyone. I'm Yu Kyung. When people hear the word economics, most of them immediately think about money. Stocks, Bitcoin, rich people, banks, prices, recession, inflation, and because of that, many people believe economics is simply the study of money. But actually, economics is not really about money. Economics is about human choice. Today, I want to explain what economics really is, why it exists, and why it affects every single part of our lives. Even if you have never studied economics before, this video is for you. Let's begin. Imagine this situation. You have only $10 in your pocket. You walk into a restaurant, you want pizza, and you also want pasta, and maybe dessert too. But you cannot buy everything, so you must choose. The moment you choose the pizza, you give up the pasta. This is the beginning of economics. Economics begins because human wants are unlimited but resources are limited. We want more food, more clothes, more comfort, more entertainment, more time, more freedom. But the world has limits. Money is limited, time is limited, energy is limited, resources are limited. Because of these limits, humans are forced to choose, and economics studies those choices. In economics, there is a very important concept called scarcity. Scarcity means there is not enough of something for everyone to have everything they want. For example, there are only 24 hours in a day. If you spend 3 hours watching YouTube, that is 3 hours you cannot spend studying, exercising, sleeping, or meeting friends. Time itself is scarce. This means economics is not just about money, even your daily life is full of economics. Every decision you make has a cost. And that leads us to another important concept, opportunity cost. Opportunity cost means the value of what you give up when you make a choice. For example, suppose you decide to study for an exam tonight. What is the cost? Maybe not money, but you gave up playing games, you gave up relaxing, you gave up watching a movie. Those lost opportunities are the real cost. Economics teaches us that nothing is truly free. Every choice creates another possibility that disappears. Now let's think bigger. Why do countries trade with each other? Why do prices rise? Why do people become unemployed? Why do companies compete? Why do governments collect taxes? All of these questions are connected to economics because economics studies how society allocates limited resources. A society must decide what should be produced, how should it be produced, who should receive it. These are economic questions. For example, a government has a limited budget. Should it spend more on education, healthcare, military, welfare, infrastructure? It cannot maximize everything at the same time. Choosing one thing often means reducing another. Again, economics is about choice under limitation. But economics is not only about numbers and graphs. At its core, economics is deeply connected to human behavior. Why do people buy expensive brands? Why do people panic during recessions? Why do investors become greedy? Why do people work harder when incentives change? Economics tries to understand human decision making. In fact, modern economics is closely connected to psychology. Humans are not perfectly rational. Sometimes people make emotional decisions. Sometimes they follow trends. Sometimes they fear losing money more than they enjoy gaining money. Economics is not simply mathematics. It is also the study of humans themselves. And here is something interesting. Even people who say, I don't care about economics, are still affected by economics every day. When food prices rise, that is economics. When rent becomes expensive, that is economics. When jobs disappear because of technology, that is economics. When interest rates rise and loans become difficult, that is economics. Economics shapes the world around us, whether we notice it or not. So then, why should we study economics? Not necessarily to become rich, not necessarily to become an investor, but because economics help us understand reality. It helps us think more clearly. It teaches us that resources are limited, choices matter, trade-offs exist, and once you begin to understand economics, you'll start seeing the world differently. You realize that every policy has costs, every system has advantages and disadvantages, and every decision creates consequences. Some people think economics is cold. They think it only cares about profit and money. But actually, economics is connected to very human questions. How should society distribute wealth? What is fairness? Should healthcare be free? Should education be free? How much inequality is acceptable? How should we balance freedom and equality? Economics is not just about becoming rich, it is also about how humans should live together in society. So let me say it again. Economics is not the study of money. Money is only a tool. Economics is the study of human choices in a world of scarcity. It is the study of trade-offs, incentives, decisions, and society itself. And in many ways, economics is ultimately the study of human nature. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And in the next lecture, we will talk about one of the most important ideas in all of economics, scarcity and opportunity cost. See you next time.